even have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones. And all right, we're ready on the Talk Beat Jones show. I am Billy E. Jones and want to thank you for joining us today. And as I stated before, I want you to have a great life, a wonderful life, a life that is rewarding, a life that makes you and your family feel proud. And that's what we're doing here on the Talk Beat Jones. Again, remember, the Talk Beat Jones, we're on the air every Wednesday. We come on the air from 10 to 11. That's right, from 10 to 11. Every Wednesday, we have the repeat broadcast on Sundays. The repeat broadcast on Sundays is from 8 o'clock p.m. until 9 on Sunday evenings. Family, you can prepare to call us at 313-868-4336, 868-0342, 868-0351. Once again, this is the Talk Beat Jones. And I've often said we go around the world. And as I look at the people, my friends who are contacting me, family, my contacts are coming in from all over the world. It is true. We are truly going around the world and we're getting responses. A great deal of the folks that I am hearing from are from around the world. And of course, we're broadcast out of the Watkins Broadcasting Network right here out of Highland Park, Detroit, Michigan. You can watch us on the Roku, the Amazon, Apple, Echo, Fire Stick, Facebook, Allegra, and the other streaming social modalities. I'm excited, and I want you to be excited. And you stay right there because I have a great, great guest that's going to come on today. And I want you to let me find out if he's there first. I'm going to bring him on a little bit later, but that's I'm going to check. Hello? Checking.
Dr. Umar Johnson.
Dr. Umar Johnson, hold on, please. Okay. And we're going to take a quick commercial public announcement, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start the Talk Beat Show. Again, I am Billy Jones, and once you call your friends, let them know this is going to be an important time for you. We talk about blackness. We talk about things that's happening. Well, let's be supportive on the Talk Beat Jones show. Be back shortly.
Who the blankety blank does that? Who overcharges Detroit property taxpayers more than $600 million, then refuse a refund or a tax credit? Who then asks for $250 million more in property taxes for blight? Don't be bamboozled. The Mikey cartel is the who. Who continues to approve property taxes for a gang we do not trust to spend our money? Homes stolen for property taxes we never owed in the first place. Land Bank Authority out of control, taking people's homes. No real contracts for our black businesses, and few if any jobs for those who pay property taxes. Proposal N is a property tax scam. Vote no on Proposal N November 3rd in the general election. Vote no on Proposal N November 3rd in the general election.
And family, if you want to know how to contact Agnes so that you can get a copy of this commercial, you want to call 313-874-2792. Call Agnes and let her know that Billy asked you to call and get a copy of this commercial so that you can play it on your group and for the people that's going to work with you on Proposition N. Okay. Once again, her telephone number, call her right now if you want to. 313-874-2792. That's Agnes Hitchcock with the Call Them Out, Make Us Whole. Let's see. We have really Donald Trump. I'm just going to ask you, what do you think about his principle, his thoughts about having all of these white folks come together and say, we are putting together our herd, so if some of us catch the COVID-19, it won't be a big thing because we kind of have our immunity and we're building up our immunity, etc. But what about those folks that's coming into that herd that are also going back to where black folks are? What do you think about that? Let's go first here. Hello, this is the Talk B. Jones. Can I get your first name and your conversation, please?
This is Mary.
Hi, Mary. How are you doing?
From California.
From California.
Oakland.
Oakland.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Praise God that the air is getting better in California. And thank you to the responders who went up there and fought that fire. All that's getting better, and we thank you.
Okay.
Now, you were talking about Donald Trump.
Yes.
I'd like to know, when it comes to a poll saying blacks support Trump, I'd like to know what poll this is. Is it the stripper poll? Because I can't believe this. I really can't.
Okay.
And so for him to sit up there and say what he's done for blacks, he's caused more trouble than any president that I've ever heard of. There's been nothing but trouble since he's been president.
Okay.
And he's lying. He keeps lying about the virus. He knew way back in January.
Well, hold on, Mary. Good morning. This is the Talk B. Jones Show. I am Billy Jones. Can I get your first name and where are you calling from, please?
Hey, Doctor here.
Hey, Hair Doc. Talk to me.
Yeah, good morning to everybody out there in this audience, and welcome to Billy Jones for taking my call this morning.
Okay.
There's a lot of things going on with our friend Dr. Trump. Not Dr. Trump, but President Trump. You know, he reminds me of something J.D. Hill said, you throw a rock and hide your hand. He threw big stones to hide his hand, but through all of that, I'm calling this morning to welcome Brother Billy Jones back to TV 33.
Okay.
I'm glad
Doc.
to see you live and didn't cover, but I'm here this morning with African Easy Silk Hair product. Go ahead, sir.
No, go right ahead.
I said I'm here with that.
Okay.
Now,
Talk to me about the African Easy Silk.
I guess you can hear that, but African Easy Silk still alive and well, and I thank all of you for sponsoring us over the years, and 20-some years with African Easy Silk. To reach me directly, you can call me on my cell phone. It's area code 313-742-6343 if you have a question about the product, or you can go to online to Days Joppery at online, or you can go to A.E. the Silk online. That's A as in Apple, E as in Edward, Silk, SILK.com. You'll pull up the product and you can see what's there. But in the meantime, you can also stay tuned to the WHPR TV 33, and I'll be back with more information.
All right, Doc. And also, you also can do that analysis of a hair problem by, what is that, the FaceTime or however it is that they can show you on the telephone?
Yeah, you're on the telephone. You can go to Messenger. On my phone, it's Messenger. Like FaceTime, it's Messenger. And then we can talk and you can show me what the problem is with your hair and whatever. If you want to talk directly to me, go to 313-742-6373, and I'll be able to talk to you direct.
All right. Thanks, Doc. I'll see you back on the other half. And let me ask you, would you please introduce yourself to the world? Because, again, the program, Doc, is going around the world, and we have an audience, like I said, on this program that I receive comments, Facebook requests from friends who watch the programs from all over the world, Belize, Ghana, all the places. Can you please introduce yourself, please?
And that would be for me?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is Dr. Umar Johnson, a doctor of clinical psychology, certified school psychologist, author of 2 books. The first one is Psychoacademic Holocaust, the Special Education and ADHD Wars Against Black Boys. And the second book, which will be releasing in Detroit this Saturday at the Detroit African Cultural Festival, is entitled Black Parent Advocate, The Art of War for Dealing with America's Public and Charter Schools.
Doc, now, my style is I kind of dip in and dip out. And just about, would you take a moment before you get into all of the other conversation? Would you explain about this book signing and where and how the procedures will be handled, please?
Yes, sir. The Detroit African Cultural Festival will be held on Saturday, December the 19th, from 12 p.m. until 7 p.m. It is an outdoor event, so it is free, and it will be at 12550 Avondale at the Maharis Gentry Park, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Maharis Gentry Park at 12550 Avondale from 12 until 7. I will be arriving at approximately 2 p.m. as I will be releasing the book in Chicago Friday night, and then I will make my travel to Detroit Saturday morning, arriving at the festival around 2 p.m. And I will be speaking there as well twice. One message on special education and a second message on ADHD and behavioral modification. And I will be signing books from 2 until 7 in between my talks.
And I must say to the family that I want to thank Minister Malik Shabazz for making the arrangements for Dr. Umar to be with us today. And, of course, Dr. Umar, you remember possibly that I interviewed you a couple of times with the Get Up Stand Up program for Minister Malik Shabazz. And I want to say to the people, to the family, to the folk, this brother is not just a brother. This is a brilliant, as I spoke to him after the show, in my existence, I've been around television on the microphones since 1985. Now I ask you to ask folks, how many of them have been around on the microphone like I'm doing now since 1985, and it's 2020 now? I've never met a man as brilliant as this young man that you're listening to right now. So please pay close attention. And I do have a telephone line open. Potentially, Dr. Umar may want to take questions, but right now I want him to speak to us about what he is here doing, what he's going to be doing here, and some of his work. Please, Dr. Umar, would you take it now, please?
Yes, indeed. To make sure folks are clear, a school psychologist is a psychologist of special education. Our job is to evaluate children in the school who have academic and emotional problems, and we help the school create a program that addresses those needs. So in order to receive special education, you must first be evaluated by the school psychologist, which is what I do.
Yes.
And then that evaluation will classify you as being learning disabled, autistic, emotionally disturbed, intellectually disabled, blind, deaf, brain injured, and a host of other disabilities.
Yes.
We are the gatekeepers of special education because we decide who goes in. With that being said, what Michigan parents need to understand, Detroit parents in particular, is that the learning disabilities that we classify children with during our evaluations are highly subjective. They are not scientifically verified. And this is important to know because when someone tells you that your son or daughter has a reading disability, math disability, intellectual disability, they can be wrong. Although the disabilities are real, their determination can be faulty. So, for example, just as having high blood pressure is a real problem, if the doctor doesn't do a good job in evaluating you for high blood pressure, he can give you a false positive. So there are a lot of false positives in the world of special ed. especially as it relates to black children, for two reasons. Number one, special education comes with a financial subsidy for the school. The school gets extra money for every single child that it places into special ed.
So, Doc, are you saying that there is an incentive for that person that's in charge to actually pad those numbers so that the schools will be making more money?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm also a former school principal, by the way, so I'll speak from that perspective as well. Every time a child's name is added to the list of special education students, that school will receive, usually by the end of the calendar month, a financial transfer of funds. Special ed children, on average, are worth twice as much as regular children. So, for example, here in Pennsylvania, or the school district of Philadelphia, where I am, a regular ed child receives somewhere around $15,000 a year.
Wow.
Regular ed per pupil expenditure. A special ed student receives almost $30,000 a year. So you can clearly see that there is a significant financial benefit to misdiagnosing black boys with problems they do not actually have.
Now, Doc, am I correct when you're saying that the school receive a check every month for those children?
Absolutely.
Do they receive a check for the regular students every month?
Well, for the regular students, it depends on how the funds are dispersed. So, for example, in some states, you get all your money for your regular students up front. In some states, you get all your money for your special education students up front.
Okay.
So depending on where you are, the funds may come monthly or the funds may come all at once.
Okay.
But what is absolutely true for every single special ed child in America is that their school does get funding for them specifically for having been placed in special education.
Gotcha.
It is a welfare program for schools that miseducate black kids.
That's why that we would have such a high percentage of black students that are placed in those particular programs?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I always ask parents, the next time you go to a school board meeting or the next time you have an opportunity to meet with the superintendent or the director of special education, ask them, what is your special education budget for the year? Just ask them. It'll blow your mind how much money is in the special education budget. And you have to also keep this in mind. Since many school districts, like Detroit and Philadelphia, that are predominantly black, and this is true for all of them, Houston, New York, L.A., it doesn't matter, because special ed is a federal program. It's hard to get funding for programs.
Hold on, Mary.
So what a lot of schools do, what a lot of school districts do, is they target black boys for special ed to make up for a lack of money in other areas. In other words, if I'm running $20,000 short, $50,000 short, and I'm going to get an extra $10,000, $15,000 for every single kid I put in special education, I'm going to try to get as many black boys in special ed as possible to make up for my lack of funding in other areas.
Why is that one? Just question to you, Doc. I don't understand. Why was black boys put on such a high percentage on the Ritalin drug?
Because it goes back to school desegregation. We were never wanted in public school to begin with.
Okay.
The ADHD, ADD was first. 1980 is when the American Psychiatric Association added attention deficit disorder to the DSM.
Yes.
In 1987, it became ADHD. Most school districts that are predominantly black have a predominantly white female teacher base. These white teachers are not really interested in our children. There may be exceptions to the rule, but I can tell you working in schools is pretty much true everywhere. They don't care about black kids, never wanted them. These are the teachers of our children are the granddaughters of the women who fought against school busing.
Come on, break it down.
So with these boys being taught by white women who don't even want to educate them, if I got to deal with them, the least thing I can do is have them comatose or Frankenstein or shut up long enough for me to get through the school day. And that is the benefit of the Ritalin, the Adderall, the Concerta, the Cyclert. It basically mummifies the child. It comatoses them the entire school day.
Wow.
So that white folks don't really have to be bothered with them too much. It's like a chemical handcuff, if you will.
Well, so if they are in that type of a mental state, how are they supposed to learn? And they're going to
They
school and they're
can't
being
learn.
passed from year to year to year. But what are they learning, and how are they learning?
Well, you just hit upon the Achilles heel. Because while the brain is under the influence of these narcotics, the child can't learn because the brain function is being arrested.
Okay,
So how can they learn while they're under the influence? They can't learn.
that's right.
That is the biggest contradiction in the medicalization of public school children. If the purpose of school is to teach and the purpose of the child being there is to learn, if the drug prevents them from learning, why would you want them on the drug during school hours? Because you don't care about them.
Is this something that black folks we face only in one certain area or district, or is this spread out throughout the United States in school systems?
It is global. It is a epidemic. It is, in my opinion, it is a crime against humanity, and I consider the miseducation of black children a form of genocide. Because when you miseducate black children, when you do not properly prepare them to struggle in a highly competitive, racialized society, which the United States is, then you in many ways set them up to be a criminal. You in many ways set them up for failure. So if the schools didn't fail the child couldn't fail themselves.
Okay. Last question, Doctor, and I'd like for you to proceed with what you want to do there, is with this virtual teaching, we have to be, to me, we have to be kind of real with ourselves. I would think that the white schools are more prepared than white districts, because their financial base is more prepared for this virtual training or virtual teaching than typically the black families. And what is your thoughts on how do you see that working out, or is that going to be will that cause us to fall further behind in the educational system, or will it turn out to be of equality?
I agree with you. White families and white communities are more prepared to deal with the virtual learning that COVID is creating or demanding, but that is because the black community is disorganized, and that problem is further exacerbated by the fact that the black church, which is the only institution or the main institution in our community that has the physical facilities to house and educate our children, are not interested in taking the lead on this. We have churches on every corner, so we have physical space where children can go and be educated by their own people during this pandemic. The problem is that the black church isn't interested in taking the lead in any type of a solution for black people that does not garner some sort of economic benefit to the church. That's the problem. We could effectively deal with this, but our stakeholders and our institutions are not interested in our children to that extent. You would have to pay the black church to do this, but they are not going to do it on their own.
Dr. Umar Johnson, you're not just going and doing seminars and talking, etc. You actually, can you give us a base about what is your feelings about putting together schools or a school?
Yes, sir. We purchased 2 schools in Wilmington, Delaware, which is about 30 minutes from the Philadelphia International Airport. Wilmington is in our backyard, so to speak. And we purchased those 2 schools, and we're in the process right now of getting the smaller of the 2 schools, which is the Honorable Marcus Garvey Elementary School. We're in the process of getting that renovated right now. working on the electrical system, the plumbing system, the fire alarm system, the sprinkler system, the roof, the carpentry, and of course the HVAC, which seems like it's going to be the most expensive system of all to get renovated. It is my hope to have the school up and running by the new year. That is what I'm hoping to do. We are a little short on funds, so if any of your listeners want to donate, they can reach me by phone, 215-989-9858. They can also go to their Cash App and donate using $ FDMG School on the Cash App, or they could donate on PayPal to the FDMG Academy. But our school is going to be unique because we're going to focus on 6 key sciences, which will include agricultural science, dietary science, financial and economic science, political and military science, spiritual and astrological science, and the science of the black man, woman, and community. Those 6 sciences will underscore 4 common areas of instruction, which are language, science, civics, and what am I missing there? Language, science, civics, and mathematics.
Dr. Umar Johnson,
yes, sir.
I want you to come back after the break and
Sure.
refresh where you are now and then proceed. But I want to hold you for stop
Sure.
at this point. Is that okay with you?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, I'll be back with you shortly. And we're going to prepare for a commercial break. But before I go to commercial break, Mary,
Yes.
are you thinking anything about what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying?
I think it's great. I mean, this has been blown wide open. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for
Because
putting this out there.
he's hitting some issues that you have brought up about the education, about the psychological schooling or unschooling of our children, etc., and the mental issues that sometimes it brings about. Right?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of mental issues out there for adults, too.
Okay.
But I want to know, when is he going to start suing?
Hold on. Wait. No, hold on. We're not going there. He's going to bring all of this conversation. We're going to prepare to take a quick commercial break from the persons, the business, the folks that believe in Billy E. Jones, Talk Beat Jones. These are my folk that believe in you spending their money to see that the Billy E. Jones Talk Beat Jones show can come on the air and talk with you and take your thoughts. We'll be back very shortly. You wouldn't have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones and
What the? Who the blankety blank does that? Who overcharges Detroit property taxpayers more than $600 million, then refuse a refund or a tax credit? Who then asks for $250 million more in property taxes for blight? Don't be bamboozled. The Mikey cartel is the who. Who continues to approve property taxes for a gang we do not trust to spend our money? Homes stolen for property taxes we never owed in the first place. Land Bank Authority out of control, taking people's homes. No real contracts for our black businesses, and few if any jobs for those who pay property taxes. Proposal N is a property tax scam. Vote no on Proposal N November 3rd in the general election. Vote no on Proposal N November 3rd in the general election.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is RJ Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you. Because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
you wouldn't have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones and is the Talk Beat Jones, and I am Billy E. Jones. And again, family, we're on the air every Wednesday live from 10 a.m. until 11 with a repeat broadcast on Sundays. That time on Sunday nights is from 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. So, and we also are featured from time to time on other times on the station here. You want to call Agnes. That's right. You want to call Agnes and ask Agnes, how do I get a copy of that commercial that I saw on the Billy Jones Show? The number to call is 313-874-2792. Yes, 313-874-2792. Call her and let her know that you saw the commercial on the Talk Beat Jones Show and you want a copy of it, and she'll send it out to you without a problem. Okay? Also, Dr. Umar Johnson is the special guest at this point today. And remember, family, we do have a line open. You can call. The numbers, once again, they're on the screen, but for those who may need me to read it, 313-868-4336, 868-0342, 868-0351, and we're going to rejoin Dr. Umar Johnson. Yes, Dr. Umar Johnson. How are you again? Thank you.
Sir.
And I want to thank you for taking your very, very precious time to join us on the Talk Beat Jones Show. And I want to thank again Mr. Malik Shabazz for assisting with this interview. Thank you. Go right ahead, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. And so what I do in these two books with Psychoacademic Holocaust, which I will not have with me Saturday in Detroit because I'm working on the second edition, but that book gives black parents an in-depth education on how the miseducation system operates, particularly as it relates to special education and ADHD. And so that is about the operation of the system. My new book, which will be released to the world for the first time, Friday in Chicago, Saturday in Detroit, Black Parent Advocate, teaches parents how to intervene in the system. So it's about intervention. What can you do to stop this from happening to your child? And so in the book, the first part of the book is a collection of letters, sample letters that parents can use to create and structure their own letter of complaint or response concerning a variety of issues. So, for example, they want to put your kid in special education. You don't believe your child belongs in special education. I have a letter for that. You have a child who you believe is mentally gifted. They don't want to evaluate your child for mentally giftedness. I have a letter for that. Your child is in special ed, and they do belong there. You do believe something is wrong. Maybe your son is autistic and needs extra help, but the help he's getting is insufficient to meet his needs. I have a letter for that. So this book picks up on the last book by showing parents precisely what they should do to deal with a given number of different problems.
Now, let me just kind of ask a question. When you say you have a letter in the book, this letter is going to be a step-by-step how to do what, Doc?
The first part, so for each topic, let's take a child in special ed who belongs there but is not being helped.
Okay.
So let's take that letter. That topic, that chapter will start out with an overview of why this happens, how this happens, what parents need to know about stopping this from continuing to happen. So I first educate them on the topic. Kids in special ed who belong there but are not being adequately assisted.
Okay.
So then the letter will specifically include what you should put in your letter to the school. So it will say something like, federal special ed law requires that every child with a disability in America receive a free and appropriate public education, FAPE. That is a legal clause, free and appropriate public education. My child has been in special ed for 7 years and still can't read.
Wow.
They go to school on a regular basis. They do their homework on a regular basis. But your special ed program is failing my son. I am requesting an IEP meeting to discuss my son's educational program, because if it is not addressed effectively and to my expectation, I'm going to demand that the Detroit Public Schools pay for my son to attend a private school at district expense, which is a right of mine as a parent of a child with a disability in America.
So I should be listening very carefully if I'm a mother, father, and or grandmother, grandfather, that I have to check and see what's going on with my child's education and why my child is not learning. Is that right?
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, if you're a black parent in America raising children in public or charter school and you don't have my books, you're at a decided disadvantage. I'm not saying that to say that I'm the only black school psychologist out there, because there's a lot of us. But I'm one of the few of them who are independently employed and who is unapologetic in exposing the evils of the system. Very few black psychologists in America are as open in their critique and in their education towards black parents, because there's so much money in education and mental health that you can make more money by keeping your mouth shut. And I'm probably the only one I know of. I'm the only one I know of in the country that teaches black parents the truth the way that I do it.
Have this viewpoint that you're espousing just now, have they caused you problems?
Oh, absolutely. I just received a letter from the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office threatening to strip me of my school psychologist certificate as well as my school principal certificate if I continue to engage in what they call quote-unquote bigoted speech.
Well, could you say that word? Say it again?
Bigoted speech is the language they used in the letter from the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office threatening to strip me of my credentials.
Now, Doc, what I have to do is ask you this for those of us who are not quite really there with that. When they say bigoted speech, can you break that down to kind of layman's perspective?
That's a good question, because they did not define it. And I would like to know what exactly do they mean by bigoted speech.
Okay.
Because they provided no examples of anything that I've said that they consider to be bigoted speech. What I believe is that they're angry about the release of this new book. They were angered about the release of the last book. They are angered about the fact that I'm exposing the system of miseducation on the level that I'm doing it.
Okay.
We've had others, but we haven't had anyone do it in the technical fashion that I have done it in, because most who have written on miseducation were not certified school psychologists. So they could not add that mental health component. They could not break down the way the IQ test is being used as a weapon of mass destruction and is not an accurate measure of intelligence.
Dr. Umar Johnson, what is it that brought you to the understanding that the schools, and I say schools because you're looking to add schools into your foundation of teaching. What made you decide that the boys have to be the emphasis on you moving forward with the educational process?
That's an excellent question. The reason I'm starting with the boys, because we do ultimately hope to extend the school to the girls. But the reason we're starting with the boys is because when you look at academic and educational outcomes for black children,
yes, sir,
it's disproportionately directed towards the boys. In other words, girls are in special ed as well, but not to the extent our boys are. Girls are expelled from school, but nowhere nearly as often as our boys are. Girls are also prescribed psychiatric medication, but nowhere near as much as black boys are. Girls are also sent to juvenile detention centers, but nowhere nearly as often as young black men are. And so although we recognize that our girls are also suffering academic apartheid, we understand that we have to go where the greatest need is, and that's with the boys, but we do hope to include the girls at a later date.
Doc, what is the situation in terms of the schools that you were looking to also try to develop in Detroit?
Great question, Baba. To be honest with you, The first Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy should have been in Detroit. And the reason the first school should have been in Detroit is because you guys have about 12 Catholic schools that are in relatively good condition that I visited, all of them, and I had enough money. We had raised enough money at the time to purchase those schools. Most of them were around $1.5 million, which is what we had at that time. And unfortunately, the realtor for the Archdiocese of Detroit had informed me in no uncertain terms that they would not be selling any of those properties to me. And that's why the school isn't in Detroit. So we should have been in Detroit for 2 years ago. It was 2017, 3 years ago, actually, when I was looking at those Catholic schools. And there were a couple of them that were perfect for us. We had the money. We didn't need a loan, but they would not sell because they knew who I was and they knew what I would be doing.
Is that an indictment upon you as a black man, or is that an indictment upon the fact that you are not one of those kowtowing type of black guys?
Absolutely. I am not a member of the black bourgeoisie. In fact, many of them are quite disgusted with me, especially the education and mental health bourgeoisie. They would rather I would just be quiet because I'm making life difficult for them, because now black parents are starting to ask questions now.
Yes.
They don't just accept what the school wants to do. They don't just accept ADHD anymore. They have questions now.
Doc, in your visit to Detroit, for folks who are saying, I want to be there to see and to support Dr. Umar Johnson, how can they support you, and is there anything they can do in advance?
The most important thing is to donate to the school to make sure we can have it ready by the end of the year, by the start of the new year. And again, on their cash apps, $FDMG School, on their PayPal, they can use paypal.me/FDMG Academy. They can also mail in their check or money order payable to the FDMG Academy to P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. And they can also come out Saturday to the Detroit Cultural African Festival and purchase a copy of the book. It's more than 550 pages of information. It is twice the size of my first book, and they are $50 per copy, and I will sign them.
Doc, just for clarity, the opening part of your conversation was kind of cluttered. Could you repeat, or can you kind of clarify that again, please?
Yes, of my last statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was saying that they could donate on their Cash App by using $FDMG School as the donation link on their Cash App, $FDMG School, or on their PayPal by using paypal.me/FDMG Academy, or they can mail the donation payable to the FDMG Academy to P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. And they can also text message me. If they were not able to get any of that, they can text me on my cell, 215-989-9858. Again, 215-989-9858. And I will send them the donation information as well as the flyer for Saturday.
Okay. Family, once again, if you want to chime in, the number to call is 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351. Dr. Umar Johnson, can I ask you to hold one moment, please? Thank
Sure.
You. Mary?
Yes, I'm here.
Talk to me.
I don't know what to say. It's beautiful. I tell him one thing, watch his back. And he's having these schools open. Make sure somebody's guarding those schools.
Oh, hold on. That was excellent. Hold on. Dr. Umar.
Yes, sir.
Would you tell them, have any persons or groups tried to stop you from opening your schools or had any problems with your schools?
Absolutely. Mostly black people. In fact,
hold, Doc. Wait. Did you say your schools, what you're about to describe, is from black people?
Yes, being sabotaged by envious, jealous, black people and also confused black people. I do not support interracial marriage. I do not support the LGBTQ lifestyle. And as a result of that, people who are engaged in interracial relationships and who ascribe to alternative romantic relationships, they are opposed to me open the school. Also, black people who just hate the fact that a black man is endeavoring to build an institution that will be totally controlled by black folk. You know, they don't like that. They're so in love with their slave master. They're so in love with their slave master's control over their own community that they would destroy anything that represents progress in our community. My school has been vandalized. Someone broke into the large school and set a fire. They tried to burn it down.
Wow.
They spray paint on the school on a regular basis. I'm removing spray paint almost every week. And this is all being done by jealous, envious black people.
You know, so as we're moving forward, we're seeing that we still have that crabs in the barrel, that situation where black folks will hurt black folks, not just kill black folks, but will hurt black folks who are looking to do great things with the children.
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you this
Couldn't see
here.
it.
My book signing that is scheduled in Chicago Friday night at the Yassa's African Restaurant on King Drive. They have been harassed repeatedly for the past 2 weeks by black YouTubers who have been pressuring them to try to cancel the book signing. These are rogues and trolls on YouTube. They don't do anything positive for the black community, but they're jealous because they wish that they were in the position that God has placed Dr. Umar Johnson in. And as you know, Booker T. Washington once said that we suffer from crabs in the barrel syndrome. If I can't do it, then neither can you.
Yes, yes. Hold on, please. Mary?
Yes.
Bugs of Oakland, California, you're back with Dr. Umar Johnson.
I'd say to Dr. Johnson, would you agree that children have been raped? Would you agree with that?
Doctor, you're on a conference with her now.
An academic rape, an academic lynching, definitely.
And would you agree? It's a lot of black people who are gay and who probably love you. I wouldn't go that route. And as for the Catholic Church, we know what sex offenders and pedophiles they got. And as for the black church not backing you up, well, they run to the city every chance they get for money. So, but you got to see there's gray areas. Please see that. Thank you. And I'll say goodbye right now, Billy.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mary, I'll see you next week. Thank you very much for your help.
All right, bye.
Dr. Umar Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Before you come back, I want to say thank you very much for Carolyn E. Cooper, Jason Childress, Kimberly Price. Kimberly Price McDade, who is a person with the station here, Denard McClary, young, talented, and gifted Phillips. I want to thank you for joining us. Also, Mark Hayward, that's from Oakland, California. I remember you, Mark. Frenzella Gregory, Trina Turner, Nakpangi Thomas, and Tina Bina Francis. I know you too. I mean, I've seen you on the Facebook. I want to thank everyone for joining us. But Dr. Umar Johnson, please give us your take in the next 5 minutes on what you need from this community to see that you're coming to Detroit for your book and it's going to be successful. What do we need to do to make your visit a success, sir?
Well, I always like to finish what I start. And since I did originally believe that we would have a school in Detroit, what I would like the good brothers and sisters in Detroit to do is to not give up on that mission and to try to help Dr. Umar find a school location in Detroit that we can use to begin our FDMG program in Detroit. It was always my vision to have multiple schools, to have a school district and not just a single school building. And, there's schools out there. I know that has to be a few black folk who own a school just sitting in Detroit, not being used, and we need to find out who they are. We're not going to get many of the schools that the city or the school district owns because they're holding on to a lot of the good schools for the white gentrifiers who are coming back into Detroit. So we're not going to get those schools. We have to find some of the other schools that are privately owned now that we can bring under our control so we can build the schools. So that's what I would like for Detroit. I'm hoping someone will come up to me on Saturday and say, Doc, we got a couple potential schools that you might be able to get one of. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, we hope to make that a reality because, Detroiters here, there's no telling what they can come up and say, hey, Doc, I want to put this in your hand. Here's a deed. I want to put it in your hand. But Dr. Umar, once again, how can we assist you in trying to make sure that you have the finances to make our dream? It's not just your dream now. It's our dream to help educate our black boys because, as men and women, we tend to take better care of our young ladies, but we tend to want to make our boys a little harder. Can you tell us what, again, can we send the money to help you develop more programs for boys?
Absolutely. And I want everyone to also be aware that the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is a tax-exempt organization, so they will be able to claim their donations on their taxes. So I wanted to make that known in case there's some black businesses out there or some wealthy brothers and sisters out there who are sitting on a couple of dollars and want to do some good. We have 2 schools that can use your money because we're focusing on a small school. We haven't even talked about the large school,
yes,
which is the Frederick Douglass School, which is beautiful. It is an absolute beautiful structure, but it's going to cost us way more money to get that one up and running. We're going to need about $1 million to renovate the big school, $500,000 for the small school. So please, brothers and sisters, get on your Cash App, use $FDMG School. I repeat, $FDMG School for your donation. If you're on PayPal, use paypal.me/FDMG Academy. That's paypal.me/FDMG Academy, or donate by mail. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. That information is also on my website, drumarjohnson.com, and they could also bring a check or money order out to the festival on Saturday, so they could actually bring their donation. And I ask that it not be cash. Please put it in a check or a money order so we can be accountable.
Doc, I'm going to make a statement, but I'd like for you to give that address again for where you will be on Saturday. But family, and my family extends around the world. I know that because I get the information. So as I look into the cameras now and I say to my family around the world, you too can send your check, your money orders from your country to where, Doc?
P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809, and that should be payable to FDMG Academy.
Because we know we have some non-black folks that are listening to you, understand the plight, and saying, I have some money that I want to contribute, because it's not about just going out and protesting Black Lives Matters, etc. It's also about black folks being educated, our black boys having a chance to be young men that are progressive, that are talented, who are going to make a contribution to our future. Doctor, I have 1 minute to close out.
To close out, I would say that black people cannot lose hope in ourselves. We can fix these problems. We will fix these problems, and we have to do what we can during our lifetime to bring an end to these problems. Our ancestors were not there to witness the end of slavery. Most of them never saw the end of slavery, but all of them worked to end slavery, and we must do the same thing in our day and time.
Dr. Umar Johnson, I just love you, brother. I just love your intellect. I love your vision, and I hope to be able to have you back once again on the Talk B. Jones program. Once again, I want to thank Minister Malik Shabazz for making this happen, and you be blessed, you be safe, And we'll talk to you again soon, sir. Before you go, give us another number where we can reach you.
215
Uh-huh.
989 9858.
All right. Family, I want to thank you for joining us today. This has been the Billy E. Jones Talk Beat Jones Show. Remember, you can reach me at 313-412-3111. You can watch the program every Wednesday live from 10 to 11 a.m. Repeat broadcast 8 p.m. on Sunday nights to 8 p.m. to 9 on Sunday nights. And we love you. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Have a great life. Bye now. Thank you, Doc. You wouldn't have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones. And